Yo, 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 what's up, what's up? Welcome to Bassing It Up. I'm Senko Sam. This is my son Elijah. This is my daughter Claire.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to do some how-tos, some basic tutorials. Right here we've got a new rod that my son got. It's a 13 Concept Origin baitcaster combo. We paid $100 for it. So it's not super cheap, but it's also not super expensive. It's a good combo for him to start with. Elijah is actually on a mission today. He's going to go fishing. Tromping around some skinny water. So I'm going to send him out, get his rod rigged up, and we're kind of going to walk you through what we do when we get a new rod, and also how to send a kid to some skinny water and catch some fish. What we'll do is we are using Segwar 8-pound Invisex. Super good line, high quality. I love Segwar. It's all I use. Here, okay. What I always do is I take my spool of line and I put it in my pant pocket. Everybody's different. I'm not saying I'm the best. This is what I do. It works for me.
Works good.
Then I'll take my line and I'll run it through at least 2 eyelets up. So I'll go 2 eyelets up. So I sent it through both of those eyelets right there. And you've got an eyelet right here on the front of your bait caster. You're going to go right through that eyelet.
Straight through the bottom. I mean the top.
Okay, and then from there, I'm actually going to send my line underneath, out the bottom. There's a hole down there. Move your head. The hole down there, I'll send it back up so that I get on the other side of the spool. Okay, so I brought my line up, and now it's around the spool. You see that at all?
Yeah.
Okay, now what you actually have to do, you need to get the front of that line and pull some slack in it. From here, I simply tie an overhand knot. I might be doing it wrong. This is what I do.
Yeah, pretty much.
2. All right, overhand knot.
There you go.
All right, so now I'm tied onto my spool. Okay. Make sure I don't have any loops around any of my gear right here.
Make sure it's straightened out.
Pull my slack out.
Into your line.
I'm just going to start reeling it. I'll put the rod out in front of me. I got the line spool right here in my cargo pocket. That's why I love cargo shorts. And I'm going to kick the rod sideways just a little bit so it comes right out of that eyelet to my pocket. I'm going to keep my thumb on my spool just a little bit to keep it tight. Now I just reel it in.
I don't know anything about fishing.
So now we're just spooling the line, okay? So look, we're putting the line on the spool. And we're just cranking.
A lot
So
harder.
right here, it's spinning. As I'm pulling this line, this spool is spinning and unraveling the line for me. And if I want to create tension, I can put a little tension against my pocket with my leg. Just keep cranking until you get your spool full. You see my spool's filling up right here? Just keep cranking.
So you have to go till the black part, like you
You
can't
don't have
see it?
to, but
I'm going to keep going. So right now I've got some tension because I've got my leg pushed out. It's got tension on this spool, keeping it nice and tight as I reel it on. Keep cranking, keep cranking. Alright, that's the whole spool.
It is?
So we use that whole spool of line,
oh,
and you can see it brought me almost to the top. So there's plenty on here. Now there again, this is 8-pound. This is fluorocarbon, so it has very little stretch. It's almost invisible in the water, and it is the Invisex, so it's a really good line. The fish aren't going to see it. The water that he's going to be fishing today is super clear. It's real skinny water, meaning it's real shallow. It's a little river system, and it's actually part of the Stones River, just so you know. I won't tell you what part, but part of the Stones River. One of the branches there off of it. So this line right here, you can fit a lot of 8-pound on this spool because the 8-pound line is really thin in diameter. So you can fit a whole spool of it. So we used a whole spool of Segwar, 8-pound, and it is a total of 200 yards. So he's got 200 yards of 8-pound test on here. Okay, so I pulled out enough slack to get me through the rest of my eyelets. So here I've got my line and I'm gonna go back through the rest of our eyelets. Now I have to be careful. I'm gonna click this button and I'm gonna pull out a little bit more slack. But when I do, I don't have this reel dialed in, so it's real loose. So I gotta keep my thumb on this spool so I don't backlash it. So there, I opened the bail and I'm pulling some slack out. So I got my slack all the way down to here. So my son is fishing some skinny water in the river once again. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna send him with his new rod, with the correct line, and I'm gonna send him with some lures that I believe he's gonna be able to catch fish with easily. Now this area doesn't have a lot of big fish. Sometimes there's a couple big fish caught out of it. So I don't wanna send him with a bunch of big lures and a bunch of stuff that's just gonna weight him down. So I'm gonna send him with what I know catches fish in skinny water and what I know is easy to learn how to fish. I got you.
So here's all I'm needing, because all right here, it's all I'll need.
So yeah, he's gonna travel light. We're gonna send him with stuff that he knows how to fish and that won't weight him down. He doesn't have a bunch of stuff in his pack, so I'm sending him with some Z-Crawl Juniors, Sweet Spot colors. He's got a couple shaky head worms.
There's some more.
You always got to have some shaky head worms. Some more Z-Crawls. These are all Sweet Spot colors of ours. And then Secret Weapon. They call me Senko Sam for a reason. I don't throw them all the time, but you can't go wrong. Gary Yamamoto, Senko, stick worm, do nothing worm, whatever you want to call it. This is one of my go-tos. If you need to catch fish, if you want to send a kid out and have him catch fish, Texas rig one of these in any body of water and you will catch fish. Patience is the key. Let me show you how it's going to rig up. So we're going to rig up a basic Texas rig. So skinny water, trying to get a lot of bites and just catch fish, so we're not going to use real big hooks. So I'm sending him with 2-aught worm hooks. Okay, so the crawfish.
I'm gonna go with these.
Okay.
Right there.
I'm putting a 1/4 ounce, which is actually a little heavy, but that's the way I like to do it. I like keeping it down, especially in current. Yeah, there's a good bit of current where he's going. 1/4 ounce bullet weight. This is tungsten. We put our line right through the head of that bullet weight. Slide it on up. Little J hook with a worm keeper. Call it a worm hook. All right. So I'm going to go right through my eyelet. I'm going to do an improved clinch knot right through the eyelet. And I'm going to pull up about 3 or 4 inches of slack. And I'm going to pinch that right above it. Everybody does their improved clinch knots differently. This is how I do mine. I pinch it right above it. And then I twist the line about 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to wet it. Okay? So I'm going to take that tail and I'm going to go right through this hole I made where I pinched it. I'll put that tail in that hole where I pinched it. Okay? So now I've got the tail through that hole and I've created a new hole right here. And I'm going to bring that tail through that new hole. I'm going to grab this into the tail with my teeth and wet it at the same time, and I'm going to cinch it down. Just like that. Make sure it cinches down nice and tight. You don't want to over pull it, especially with 8-pound line. Clip the tail off a little bit.
Ready.
That's what a Texas rig looks like. Got your bait, got your hook. You're gonna go right into the top of it to the bend. As soon as the hook starts to bend, kick the hook out. Okay, you see that? And I'm gonna slide that bait up over this bend and over the eyelet. Right? So the eyelet of that hook is covered up. I kind of twisted it. See the bend in the hook? It's keeping that bait. All right. Now you want this hook to be rigged so that the bait holds it straight. Okay. So what I do is I lay it beside there and I look where the bend is. The bend in the hook right here. Okay. So I'm going to take and bend that lure like that and put my hook right through the center, and it comes out the top. So it should look something like that.
Hook shouldn't be exposed very much.
You don't want your hook exposed. It's actually kind of hidden there.
Then the fish will be like
that. Is a Texas rig crawfish. It is crucial. First of all, make sure you tighten your reel on there real good. They're not always tightened from the factory when you buy a combo. Okay? And then you got to get your brake right. See how fast that falls? It's too fast.
That means it's loose.
So I'm going to tighten it up a bit. What I want it to do is I want it to fall all the way to the ground and stop without overrunning. Still too fast. I'm stopping that with my thumb. I want it to fall on its own
Slow.
So look, I'm tightening this brake till it slows down. So I'm gonna hit the brake. See how it's slowing down? And I hit the ground and I got an overrun right here. So that's a bird's nest, right? So it overrun a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten it back up a little bit more. Bring it back up. I'm gonna tighten this up. Maybe a 1/4 of an inch. Not moving it much at all at a time. Righty-tighty. My button one more time. So I didn't have to touch the spool with my thumb. It landed on the ground and it didn't overrun. Okay? So that should be...
Is that hook coming out?
No.
Back?
That should be correct. Okay? Now Elijah is still learning how to cast a bait caster. So in his particular situation, I'm actually going to go a little bit tighter. So we've dialed in our new reel. We've got him set up with the right lures. So when you get to the water, you're going to straighten that back out.
Okay.
So Elijah's going fishing today with his buddy. I'm not going with him. So it's on him to catch fish all by himself. He's not going to have my assistance. He's only got the knowledge that I've shown him.
Which is a lot.
Well, and he's done pretty well. He's caught some fish all on his own recently.
Tell him about the other day.
He caught a monster here recently.
Perfect.
So
There
that
we go.
is our little
I am
tutorial
ready
on how to
to
send a kid fishing. We are sending him out to catch fish. It's awesome. Thanks for joining us here, Bassing It Up. Cinco Sam, Elijah.
See ya.
We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for joining.